Grace and peace be multiplied unto you. I welcome you to today's lesson on vegetable crop production. And this is the final lesson on the topic vegetable crop production. So, in the previous week, we've been looking at principles of vegetable crop production, and then we looked at principles such as land selection, selection of varieties, method of propagation, cultural practices, pests. So in this lesson we're actually going to look at the last three, which is pest and disease control, harvesting and storage, processing and marketing. So before that we also looked at the cultural activities, which were watering, application of plant fertilizer, stirring, and etc. Okay, so let's get right into it with pest and disease control. So pest and disease control is actually a cultural activity that is done to the soil to increase crop yield. So pest and disease control form part of the basic principles in crop production. It's one of the things that you have to look at when it comes to crop production. And then crop pests needs to be controlled because of the following reasons. They can pests can transmit diseases to crops since most of them are carriers or vectors of diseases. They reduce the yield of crops since they mostly feed on them or on the fruit parts of the plant. They reduce the farmer's income because of the extensive damage they cause to the plant. And so there are certain ways with which you can use to reduce crop pests. And some of the ways are like pests like birds, rats, grass cutters can be controlled by certain scarecrows. So with the use of scarecrows, you can actually prevent pests like birds. Also, pests like insects can be controlled by spraying the farm with chemicals such as insecticides. So matured crops should also be harvested early, and when you harvest the crops early, you prevent pest infestation. So these are some of the ways with which you can use to prevent pest infestations on your farm. Also, disease control. There are different kinds of diseases that attack and affect crops, and as such need to be controlled. Some of the diseases are caused by factors like nutrient deficiency. So reasons why we need to control diseases in crop production: they reduce crop yield, because when your plants are diseased, you can't be able to sell them to get enough income. And so you realize that once they are diseased, they are not useful again. So it reduces the amount of crops the very good crops you want to sell. They increase the cost of production. They cause fruits and vegetables to rot at a faster rate, and they reduce the income of farmers. So these are some of the reasons why it is very important to control diseases in plants. Let's look at harvesting and storage. So when crops have been grown and are fully matured, they need to be harvested on time so that they do not get attacked by pests and diseases. Any delay in harvesting can greatly reduce their yield because of pest infestation. Crops harvested need to be stored at the right place with suitable temperature so that they do not easily get bad. So it's also very important to harvest crops very early so that they do not get bad or they are not infested by pests and diseases. So crops harvested needs to be stored in the right place with suitable temperature so that they do not go bad. Some of the crops that need to be treated with chemicals after harvesting before they are stored. This is to prevent pest infestation. So it's very important to harvest and store your crops that you've cultivated effectively so that they do not get spoiled or attacked by pests. We can also look at processing and marketing. So this is actually the last principle when it comes to vegetable crop production. Some of the crops harvested need to be processed before they are sold. For example, rice harvested have to be processed by removing the outer skin, the husks. This process is called milling. Tomatoes are usually processed into paste, fruit into juices to be canned, boxed, or bottled for transportation. So you realize that after production, after harvesting, you need to process the foods you have so that they can actually last long on the shelf. So, for example, rice has to be processed by removing the outer skin, because when you don't remove the outer skin, that is not the how people would like to buy the rice. People would like to buy rice that has been dehusked already, other than rice that has not been dehusked. So processing and marketing is very important. Actually, marketing is also for the plants or the crops. Marketing is very important for crops that need to be sold quickly. So let's move ahead and let's look at some of the farm tools and their uses. So for crop production, there are certain tools that are used, and we have mechanized farming and the local farming. Mechanized farming involves the use of high technology tools for which helps increase crop yield, but the local ones has to do with the use of simple tools like hand thrower. So hand thrower actually is used for transplanting seedlings, for earthing up vegetable crops on beds. Another farm tool that is being used is the garden shears. So the garden shears is for cutting or trimming hedges. And then wheelbarrow. Wheelbarrow is also used for transporting. So the pictures are actually shown there. Farm tools like garden forks, spade, and shovels are also used. So garden forks, a picture is shown right here. This is a garden fork, and this is a spade. This is a spade, and this is a shovel. Shovel actually has its this side to run deep than the spade. The spade is flat. Okay, so these are the spade is used for turning over soil. The shovel is used for scooping and transferring soil, and then the garden fork is used for loosening the soil. So other farm tools are hand fork, mattock, and pickaxe. So this is the pickaxe, this is the mattock, and this is the hand fork. So the hand fork is used for stirring the soil, the mattock is used for digging, the pickaxe is used for uprooting tree, stump, and stones. We have the rake, watering can. This is actually supposed to be a can. Watering can, and then the hoe. So the watering can is actually used for watering the plants. The rake is for leveling soil surface. The hoe is for weeding. Sea cutters is used for pruning. So in the earlier video we realized that sea cutters actually used in the process of pruning. Also we have the knapsack sprayer. It's used for spraying chemical solution on crops. We have the ranging pole, which is used for making straight lines during land survey. Also, we have what we call pegs, sickle, and tape measures. These are all farm tools that are used during crop production. The pegs are used for making straight lines, for marking out plant distances. The sickle is used for harvesting cereal crops like rice, and then the tape measure is used for taking measurements on the farm. We have the cross staff. The cross staff is used for constructing right angles at corners of plots in order to get straight lines. The garden rope is used for straightening the edges of plots, and then the head pan is used for harvested crops and for mixing fertilizers. So lastly, the farm tools that we'll be looking at is cutlass and machete, or machete as some may call it, and then the axe. So the cutlass is used for weeding, for cutting down small trees, for planting seeds, for harvesting some crops, example plantain, and the axe is used for cutting down trees. So this brings us to the end of crop production, and I believe that you've learned so much when it comes to vegetable crop production, when it comes to the principles of crop production, to the propagation, to the cultural activities, and then to the farm tools that are being used. So I've given some questions on this video, and I hope this video will help you solve them or answer them. Until we meet again, have a nice day. Bye bye.